Hello YouTube, it's good to see you guys. Today I want to show you guys how to lube up an SD9VE pistol by Smith and Wesson. This is a striker fired pistol. It's very much like a Glock. So it's going to be pretty much the same way you lube up a Glock pistol and pretty much any striker fired pistol for that matter. And this is Smith and Wesson's budget version of that. Very popular firearm. And here we go. Alright guys, first things first, we want to make sure it's empty. No magazine. Lock back the slide. Empty chamber. Alright, we can proceed to take it down. You're going to have to make sure the striker is not cocked in order to take this down. It's very much like a Glock. So you're going to want to pull it back some. Pull down on the tabs, and there you go. That's how we take it down, nice and easy. Now we're going to put oil everywhere that we touch metal on metal. Everywhere there's metal to metal friction, we're going to put some lube. So I'm going to go get the lube and the Q-tips, and I'm going to get started. Alright guys, be sure to shake up the lube. I like to go with just any kind of thin lubrication that's meant for firearms. Most firearms don't need anything thick, just anything meant for firearms is good to go. It's usually going to be thin. I like to use break-free CLP, so I'm shaking it up to make sure that it's going to lubricate properly. I like to apply it with Q-tips. It's just a personal preference. Here we go. What I like to do is spray some, as little as possible. Spray some in the back and lie it muzzle down on the table. Let it drip down the slide, down the rails. Doesn't have to be a whole lot. It's actually hard to get the amount that you need. It tends to be too much. We go way too much. Alright, so I'm going to set that down and forget it. Face down on the table for a little bit, let that drip down. Always the outside of the barrel, never the inside of the barrel. I had a bit of a lighting issue there. Here we go. All over the outside of the barrel. You get friction everywhere. I don't like to do the ramp. Some people do. I'm going to skip the ramp. It's a personal preference. But everything else, get some lube. This firearm's already been cleaned. Now I'm just lubricating. This is a lubrication video, not a cleaning video. There's plenty there. Moving on. Now I need to get the rails. And also I'm going to do the ejector and the firing pin safety thingy. Put lube on all that stuff. This is how most striker fired pistols are. This is very, very much like a Glock. Most striker fired pistols are going to be this way. They're not very difficult to do. if it's dirty, you can clean it in a very similar fashion as to how I'm lubing it. But then eventually you will want to go over it again in order for some lubrication to happen. Put some lube on it. I also like to do the locking block. Forgot to mention that. I got to do the locking block as well. It's definitely essential to do the locking block, all over the locking block. And the takedown thingy in there. All over all that. Do the back rails, and I'm almost done. I like to squirt some, drip some into the firing mechanism. That's just me. Like literally a drop. That was way too much. I'm going to dry it. Dry that out some with a Q-tip. Not a whole lot. Yeah, just, you know. Whew. And there she is, guys. That's all you really need. Let me go ahead and put her back together. I'm sorry guys, that was premature of me to say. You definitely need to put some in the slide. I always leave the breech face dry. You don't want to do the breech face because you don't want crud to collect in the firing pin. So you leave the breech face dry. I'm going to put some on the hammer, well, I mean on the striker. Where the striker meets the trigger mechanism, I'm going to put some lube. I'll put some lube on the firing pin safety. Lube all over the bottom here. Also, I'm going to do some in the channel where the barrel runs. Some in here. All over the inside of the slide. Just like that. Plenty of lube. Because you get friction in there. Make sure you leave the breech face dry. I'll make sure I dry the breech face. Just make sure it stays dry. And that's it. Now we're going to put it right back together. Put it back together. Barrel goes in first, just like that. There we go. Next, right in here. On this firearm, the manual wants this, says it wants it all the way in level. You don't want it at an angle, you want it level. All the way down in there. It's hard to put it in wrong, it only goes together one way for the most part. Comes your slide. There you go. Function check. And that's it. You're good to go. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I appreciate your company.